Hi everybody, this is Jerry Dean from Missing Persons of America. I'm going to be going over the case of Jessica Stacks, who went missing in Mississippi when she went to hunt for hogs. And I'm going to be going over the coat that was found, the boots that were cut off, and the gun, and a lot of other details that I found out about while doing the research on this story. So that's coming up next. Jessica Stacks, she's 28, and her boyfriend, Jerrie Wayne Baggett, got in a small boat without a motor and decided to go on the Tallahatchie River in Mississippi. They were going to go downstream, and they left at daybreak, and Jessica did not take her phone with her. She left the phone with somebody so she could call them when they were ready to leave to come pick them up. So they headed off down the river, and she got off the boat at some point in time. Jerry said about 2 hours after they were in the river, she got out of the boat, and he drifted a little farther down, and then he got out and he found out he was lost. And at that point, when he was found, he realized that Jessica was missing. I think he assumed that Jessica had made her way back to land, and then they went over there and found out she was not there. Now, after doing some more research, I found out that the purpose that they were on the river was because they were searching for wild hogs. Now, Union County Sheriff Edwards told DJ Journal that Jessica and Baggett were heading to higher water. And evidently the animals will get on the bank of the river when the water is rising, and they heard that that was a pretty good place to go find wild boar, and that was their intention, was to find them. Sheriff Edwards said, when the river water is high, people sometimes see if they can catch a deer or hog that has been pushed to higher ground. Now, this leads me to believe that Sheriff Edwards believes Jerry's story of what happened that day. And he also said that he didn't believe there was any foul play. Now, what I find kind of strange is this whole wild hog story, because anybody that's raised in the South knows that you have to have precautions when you're looking for hogs. You have to be prepared for them. I put a video on Missing Persons of America that shows this group of guys that were going to look for hogs and deers on January 2nd, and it was raining cats and dogs in Mississippi. Now, I'm not sure if they were in the same area of Mississippi as Jessica and Jerry were, but you could see they had a lot of preparation done before they went off to do this. And Jerry and Jessica were just in a small boat and heading downstream to look for these hogs, and didn't seem to have any supplies with them that would be necessary if you were to catch a wild hog and get it back into the boat. Now, I ran across a story by Any Miss Media, and they talk about how Jessica and Jerry got separated, and I think this is really important. I'm going to read this quote to you. Stacks got out of the boat saying she intended to walk out of the river bottom. That's what the sheriff had said. Baggett continued down the river at least a couple of miles before getting out of the opposite side of the river. He ended up calling his son, and they said for him to stay where he was and they would come get him. They told him to holler and yell and they would find him. When they found Baggett, it became apparent that Stacks was missing. Now, we don't know at this point if the son is the one that had Jessica's phone. Remember, Jessica gave the phone to a person to be able to call them when they were ready to leave the river. So I don't know if Jerry called his son, or if he called, or if the son is the same person that has Jessica's phone. I don't know at this point in time. Now, I want to go over the items that were left in the boat and her boots that were cut off of her, things like that. So I'm going to go through those items one at a time. So the first one is the purse and the keys. Now, it was reported that Jessica left her purse and keys in the boat. Now, a lot of people are finding that strange because if you're going on a boat, you normally don't take your purse and keys with you. Well, I guess that has a lot to do with experience too. I remember the first time that I got in a boat, I had my car keys, my purse, I took them with me. And then once I got there, I go, okay, now what do I do with this stuff? I can't leave it in the vehicle. So I took it with me and put it in the boat. Later on, I realized what I needed to leave my purse at home. I realized that I needed to wrap my keys up in a waterproof bag. But maybe that's what Jessica did. She took it with her out of habit and didn't realize until she got there, well, now I've got this stuff. I'm going to have to take it with me. I can't just leave it with the person that dropped us off. So that ended up in the boat. The phone. All right, this is really interesting about the phone. Now, people are questioning the story about her leaving the phone with somebody else. Well, according to Sheriff Edwards, he told Dateline that Jessica's cell phone was later turned in by an individual who stated that he had it because Jessica and Baggett had planned to call him on it to be picked up at the end of their boating trip that day. It was about what I mentioned earlier. Evidently, this is the same man that launched the boat. So maybe she was there with her purse and her keys and her phone, and instead of Jerrie giving the man his phone, Jessica gave him her phone. And they were going to use Jerrie's phone to call Jessica's phone so the guy would answer it and come pick them up. Now, the coat. When they did the search for Jessica, they did find a coat. Now, Edwards has been quoted as saying that he believes it's her coat. I don't know if any of the family has looked at the coat and has identified it as being Jessica's or not. By the way he's worded that, he believes it's her coat. I don't know at this point in time. No one else has brought anything else up about whether that coat is actually hers or not. So now we're under the belief that it was her coat and it was found. Carla Jones, she's Jessica's cousin, she said, Stacks left several footprints behind near the river. Her boots were later found. They'd been cut off her. Her coat and gloves were found near her boots. Now, that is really, really strange. And everybody's speculating, what does this mean? Why would she cut her boots off? Then I found something that Jerrie himself had put on his Facebook page. And you can see it there, and I'll read it to you. Ma'am, we stopped. She pulled the boat on the bank, cut off her boot because it was hurting her leg. My baby started walking toward the bridge where we put it in, and she never came back. That's the truth, and I put it on my dad's grave. I stayed till dark waiting on my baby. I didn't know anything was wrong till I got home and she wasn't there. I'm sorry if it's not the answer you're looking for, but it's the truth. Now I want to answer, and bad as anyone, she is my world despite our differences. Me and my family prays for her family as we pray for ours. We all want answers now. Please, no unnecessary feedback, please. I've had enough. And then it was reported that Jessica was going towards the direction of Highway 30 West, and Jerrie also commented on that, and he said, yes, she way walking back towards the bridge where we put the boat in. You can see the bridge. In other words, we were not out of sight of the bridge where we started, ma'am. All right, so let me go on to the boat. Now, the boat did not have a motor, and the boat was found a mile upriver from the Rocky Ford Bridge at Etta. And remember, the boat was first launched into the river near the Country Road 46 bridge at daybreak. Next thing, the gun. All right. I searched high and low for this information about the gun. At first, it seemed like there was absolutely no gun, and it didn't make any sense for them to go hunting and there was no gun. Why would you go do that if you didn't have a gun? What were you going to do? Tackle with your bare hands a wild pig? No, that didn't make any sense. But now I found out that Jerrie did have a hunting gun. It's mentioned in the story. I have a link over at Missing Persons of America. And in quotes, Baggett is said to have had a hunting gun when he and Stax launched into the river on January 1st. Now, there is a lot of questions that people are coming up with. And I had a lot of questions. It wasn't until I did a lot of research till a lot of these questions were satisfied. But I still wonder about the searching and going after and hunting a wild boar. Now, you look at the weight of a wild pig. The average for a female is about 150 pounds. Now, I suppose if they did shoot this pig, they could have probably dragged it and got it into the boat. But then what about gutting? And you want to gut it before you put it in the boat, so you didn't take all that back with you. And I don't know if they had a knife, but then we hear about her cutting the boots off. So I guess they did have a knife. Maybe they were prepared to do it. They didn't have a lot of things with them, but maybe it was just enough so they could do this. And I have not heard if this is the first time they've done this, or if maybe even Jerrie just by himself had done this before, and Jessica wanted to go with him, thought it would be a cool thing to do. We don't know at this point. Now, Jessica was reported missing at 10 p.m. I heard that her daughter reported her missing. I've heard that Jerrie himself reported her missing. But then here we are at 10 p.m. Now, he said before in that little blurb that you saw earlier that he waited till night for her to come back. But I would think most people would have been a little desperate at this point as they saw the sun coming down and going, oh my gosh, where is she? We're going to lose light here. I better get some help to find her so she's not out here all night long. I do not know why it took him so long to call for help. Hopefully he'll explain that. I've sent over a couple of messages over to him and asking for him to respond. He may or may not. I don't know at this point, but at this point he had not responded to me about that. I also was kind of curious about who dropped them off, if maybe this is a witness to the fact that he saw them both get into the boat. Maybe this witness saw them both get into the boat, so that's another reason why they're doing the searching in that area, because it's assumed that's where she was last seen. This witness saw her getting to the boat with Jerrie, and so they know for a fact that that's where she was at and not at some other location. I don't know who this person is at this point. That hasn't come out. All right, now the search.
You know, like I said, it was very high water. A flood overflow was on. We had to wait some places till the water receded to be able to get in.
The search has been extensive. I just heard about her missing here just a couple days ago, and she's been missing since the 1st, and they've done extensive search. The sheriff seems like he's totally invested in finding Jessica. He's very concerned about her, and they've done everything they could possibly do. They've used their sheriff personnel, they've used volunteers, they've used drones, they've used all the technical things that's available to them to search for her. And other than finding the coat and her gloves, and the boots, they have not located her. Now, suspicious or not? Well, it seems as Jessica's mother, Kathy Story, she feels that there's some suspicion to this story. She said to Dateline, quote, she didn't just walk away, and if she was hurt, we would have found her. Someone did something to her. I know it. But Sheriff Edwards as I said before, he doesn't think there's any foul play. He thinks everything is on the up and up. And this is what he said, quote, "Yesterday, the water was out, and it appears when she got out, she was surrounded by water and maybe didn't realize that was going to be the case. Maybe she couldn't cross. It was too deep. There's a very deep dragline ditch between there and road. And if it were filled with water, you wouldn't know how deep it was until you stepped in it." So it almost makes you think that maybe Sheriff Edwards thinks that something happened in the water and she was not able to save herself, which is a little bit concerning because Jerrie did say she got to the shore. So other than the fact that maybe she walked back into the water again, I don't know. And if she took her boots off or cut her boots off, did she have other shoes on also? Was she wearing tennis shoes or something? Or what? It's hard to believe that she was walking barefoot at that time. So Jessica is still out there. She is 5'4", 110, 125 pounds, has blonde hair and green eyes, and multiple tattoos, including a puzzle piece with the name Kobe and the name Braden on it. So if you happen to see her, please call the police. They are looking for her. And I'm hoping that this turns out that Jessica is alive and well. Let me give you the phone number for the Union County Sheriff's Office. They are at 662-534-1943. And this is a very, very sad case. I hope that Jessica is found soon. And I hope this clears everything up for everybody. If you have any more questions, I'll still be doing more research on it. Just leave your comments below and I will answer them. And see you soon.